Welcome back to another edition of Calling the Audible. I'm Mo Khan, fresh or fatigued from my trip to Quebec City for the Nationals. I appreciate Iggy doing the double dip with Manu Alaroir last week. But I'm back, ready to go, fasting as well. Day one of the books, and we are here. We are here, ready to roll. And let's bring in our first guest of the evening, Zachary Alberts Gill. Zach, have you fasted like I am doing right now, my friend?
I don't know
Yes.
about fasting. I like to do the intermittent fasting where I don't eat and then I eat a lot of food and don't count the calories.
Yeah, it's sort of like that. That's what it
Okay.
is, somewhat speaking here. But it's crazy. Like I was in Quebec City for nationals, so I didn't eat much in Quebec City. I lost weight actually. So I weighed myself Monday morning. It was 205. By noon, I was about 211.
Oh, that's a good thing. I like more weight is good weight.
I guess it is. Yes, it is. I guess it is. Zach, let's dive into. We have a lot to get to with this division of yours that you covered 5A and 5B, a little bit of COVID as well. Um, we're at the end now, Zach. We're seeing the end for the season here. We're almost 70% through. Some are at 80% through their
Hmm.
campaign. Some are at 6 games right now. But A Squad, are they? I know they had the forfeits that happened, but now they're at 2 wins with 2 games left. Are they running out of racetrack to maybe sneak into the playoffs?
Yeah, I think Mo, we talked about this team. What it was like 2, 3 weeks ago when we were
Yeah.
saying like, how is it going to be possible that they sneak in? Well, I was actually looking at it, and there's like one scenario or two in which they sneak in.
Hmm.
But they have to win out. Like they have to win both those games. I think Step Brothers have to win like all three. For them to get in, you need them to get 4 wins, and then a few other teams get less or tie with them, and they get the tiebreakers.
Right.
And like
Right.
it's incredibly low odds for them to do that because even if it's against Vice City, they lose that tiebreaker.
Yeah.
So
But
like, yeah.
I was gonna say. Well, I was gonna say. Step Brothers had a big one against CRA yesterday. And
Oh.
that's mass. I guess sorry, Notorious it was CRA, whoever they won yesterday. See, my fast is killing me right now. But Step Brothers had a big win, and so they get their
Did
first win of
they?
the season. Yeah, they won
Oh,
yesterday. Step Brothers. I don't know if you saw the game or not, but
no, I
they
didn't.
won their game as I open up the box here for those to see. Actually, I apologize. Not Step Brothers. What am I saying? See, I'm screwed up, man. This
Oh,
is what
it's the
happens when you
fasting.
fast, man. The
It's the
whole day.
fasting.
It's the fasting. Blame the fasting right now. But you know what? Like, here's the thing about A Squad. I think they're gonna run out of racetrack because
Yeah.
you're right. What you've listed right now of the obstacles in front of them, the tiebreakers that's gone against them. I just can't see them making up the lost revenue of what they've been so far to get back to breaking even and hopefully get into the playoffs as maybe a low end seed.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like Richie's been a one-man army on that team. I think he took QB last game for the win. I think they had. He's doing great on offense, defense. He's got 2 pick sixes, 21 tackles. They've got a lot of talent on their team. You've got Jerome Merchant Nord. I'm so sorry for mispronouncing your name. But the point being is like they've got talent on the team. They're just not clicking. And those forfeits really just like cut their racetrack in half. Like I don't think they're making it.
Now you mentioned Vice City before, with the win over A Squad. They're 2-4 right now. They're neck and neck with Ski Yee, Thunder Buddies, and Bandits, right? So the question is, could Vice City sneak into that and make a late charge for a playoff spot?
Oh, I mean, they can make a charge, and I want them to make a charge because realistically, go out swinging. But I mean, you got Les Petites Carottes that they're going to play. You're going to play Thunder Buddies, who are coming off, I think, like a small break. They're going to be a team that's going to put up a lot of points. Then
Right.
you're going up against West Island Habibis and Sleeping All Stars. Like these are just all really good team. Most of them being in the top 10. So realistically, you have to win. I think how many wins do they have so far? Two to
Two.
get to
Yeah.
stay out of elimination. I'm anticipating you need 4 wins, right? Can they win two of those games?
Let's look at it this way. Okay, Thunder Buddies, Vice City. I think the Buddies win that game. I think we agree upon
Yeah,
that.
I think so.
La Petite Carottes.
I,
Oh
I
my.
mean, the Carrots take it.
Yeah. Yeah. West Al Habibis. I think they lose that.
I think they lose that too, and I think
Yeah.
the only one that they really have a chance of doing is that West Island Habibis because Sleeping All Stars are arguably in a better seating spot than the West Island Habibis right now.
Yeah. But the thing is, though, let's look at it from this perspective. Then, if they get 3 wins, I don't think it's enough. I don't think it's going to be enough
Yeah,
at all for this division to get in. As maybe it would as a last seed, but you need to get help to hopefully keep teams to 3 wins. Because look at it right now, Zach. You have about what 5, 6 teams at 2 or 7 teams at 2 wins or better.
yeah, yeah.
I don't think three is going to be enough to get in.
I don't think three is going to be enough, which is why like it gets interesting because we're saying what happens when A squad gets 3 wins and what happens when Vice City gets 3 wins. Well, actually, Vice City makes it now because they have the
Yeah,
tiebreaker on. So like it's really messy at the bottom, and it's really that last elimination spot I think teams are playing for.
I agree. I just don't know how they're going to get in. It's
Yeah,
it's going to be tough for Vice City, but they right now look Vice City A squad. I think Vice has the better chance because they
I
have
think
more
so
games
too.
to work with.
Yeah.
Than A Squad does. But you look at it this way right now, right? Notorious CIG, real or no deal with this team?
Ooh, if we're talking about real going all the way to the finals, I don't think they're that real.
Okay.
But they're definitely making playoffs. When I looked at them, listen, George Spano, I hope that's how you pronounce your last name.
That is
QB is
correct.
doing awesome. He's like number 2 in the division right now. They've got Joey Notaro, who's like number 1 receiver right now, number 1 target, second most yards, 11 TDs. You've got crazy targets in Ryan Steven and Zachary Mastromo. I'm starting to write these names down so I can remember them. But they both have like 30 plus targets and like 8 TDs. Like this is a good team, but when you look at who they've lost against and who they've played, I all of a sudden I get like a little bit more shaky. Um,
Hail
I
Mars,
let-
they lost to by 1. Lost to Vice City by
they
2.
lost to Vice City. They lost to Hell Marty's. Like
Le Petit Cara by 7. So three losses have been by 7 points or less.
yeah,
Even the A score, right? So it's 4 losses have been by
that's
seven
fine.
points or
Yeah, Sleeping
less.
All Stars was a tie too. So
Right.
like I think they have the chance to make it, but all of
Yeah.
these close losses should be wins if you want to be the real deal. I think.
So in that sense, though, does that not make them more grizzled, like your beard, to win those type of games now, going to the final 2 that they have left, and maybe playoffs as well?
I'd be up for entertaining that. Like I still don't think you're beating a team like Les Petits Carottes. I don't think you're going to be beating a team like maybe me Ducks or
Right.
Strapaholics. But I think if it comes to the middle of the pack, like Notorious CIG is going to be bumping people out in come playoffs if they get a second chance.
Yeah, I think Notaro is dynamite. I think Spano is a really good player. I like him a lot. I think
Hmm.
Notorious CIG have the recipe, the tools required to make a run here. But look, they get Rico Riders, not easy, and West Island Habibis. So if they were to falter, I mean, that would put them at 3, 6, and 1. I think 7 points will be enough to get in the playoffs, but I think they might end up being in
Yeah.
that 10 to 12, 13 range than being where they are at number 8.
Well, that's what we're saying. Like if we're saying 3 wins isn't enough to make playoffs, like maybe that tie helps you enough to boost you up. But geez,
Right.
if we're saying they lose the next 2, they might not even make it to the playoffs.
Yeah, it's going to be tricky because, again, I think they're okay, but it could go wayside if all those teams below them pop up with wins and then they are not in control of their destiny at that point. But I
Yeah.
think they're in strong position for them to be in the
Yeah,
playoffs. How
100%.
far they go, I'm not sure about that. I agree with you on that point. Look, Pasta Arabia, they're a top 8 team right now, number 7 in the league. But their ability to score points has not been great. So how concerned are you about their inability to score right now?
It was actually great convenience that I played them on Sunday with Super Troopers, and we ended up winning 41-14. And going into this game, I was nervous. I was saying like, hey, we played them in the FPF Cup, I think, in Tier 4 in the fall, and they were like, I think, almost undefeated. When it came to the postseason, they were a solid team, but it was surprising that they struggled offensively. And I'd like to give myself credit because I'm Greg Rusher to put pressure on the QB, but I don't think every game the quarterback is going to be Rusher to account for like these low points. And I
Right.
looked at was it Nick DeLisi? I think I looked at his stats
Yeah.
earlier. Like
Yeah. Nick
he
DeLucia,
put
yeah.
up touchdowns. He could put up the numbers. So I don't know what's happening this year. I don't know if maybe defense in D5 is better. Maybe
Well,
like he's
I'll say this, Zach, right? They've only scored 25 points once this season. Everything else has been
yeah.
below 20. Like, you're not going football games if you're scoring less than 20 a game in the FPF.
Well, that's it. Like, and My team Super Troopers are struggling as well. I mean, we're 2-4-1 where we're struggling to put up 4 touchdowns a game, but like that's what I'm expecting from a middle to kind of lower of the pack team, not from
Right.
Pasta, who I expected to be one of the top teams, who is a top team, eighth seed, and you're
Right.
not able to put up 4.
Yeah, it's look. I think for Pastor Rabiat, their get out of jail card will be their defense.
Yeah,
Can they win the field position battle and give Delisi in this offense not the full 40, but maybe 30 or less? And,
exactly.
and if they can do that, and look, you look at their defensive stats right now, they got what 7, 8, 9 TD INTs. I beg your pardon. No pick sixes
Yeah,
yet. And they got 10 sacks from Marlon Pace, which is good, right? But again, I just worry for this passing attack because they just don't have the encyclopedia of a deep playbook to say we can go to this option if it doesn't work for option B, A, B, or C or D. So I am worried about them because they are right now 7, Zach, but they might drop a little bit and end up being a mid-table team going towards the playoffs.
yeah, that's what I'm seeing as well. Especially when you got Thunder Buddies. I think this Bandits game is going to almost be a make or break. Like they have to win this. I think they're making playoffs. Like I'm not worried about
Yeah,
that, but I
I
think
agree.
that
I
Bandits is
agree.
going to be like, are you good enough to beat this good team or this what team that I think is actually okay, but is number 16 fighting for survival. If you're giving them a chance
Yeah.
to stay in it, like
I'll say this though: if Bandits do win against Arabia, it opens up the number 7 spot for everyone else.
yeah.
That's what it does. It opens up that point. Look, 5B Maccabees. They've been lurking, and we spoke about them about a month ago. The 2 ties that they had that it could very well hurt them, which probably will in terms of the
Yeah.
tiebreaker scenario for the top 2 spots in 5B. But could you see a scenario where maybe they jump Win Diesel or Pack a Punch? And I believe they play Win Diesel towards the end of the season.
Yeah, they play Win Diesel the last game, actually. So, doing the math, Win Diesel's got 3 games left. Pack a Punch has 3 games left. Looking at their schedule, both of those teams are winning 2 out of the 3 games minimum. I think Win Diesel's going to win out, but let's give them the 2 of the 3 because they're going to lose in this scenario to Maccabees, just to give
Right.
them the edge. Even in that case, they get 18 points. And Maccabees, because of their ties, can only get 17.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah.
Because look, Maccabees end of season packing Packers tricky team. You mentioned Win Diesel. I think that they'll make a run for it for
Mhm.
at least number 2 spot if
Yep.
that they get that point. But you get top G's. Top G's a top 6 team right now. Like it's not easy, but if they do
Yeah.
get it, they've earned it because of what the schedule's on right now for them to say, hey, they have earned the right to be a top 3, if not top 2, maybe the first seed if things really go their way. But would you put them in that equation with Win Diesel and Pack a Punch as being the favorites for 5B to win this season?
Ooh. Man, every time I see this team and I look at them and I go, geez, like they are good. Why am I not more excited about seeing this team more often? And I
Right.
think it's because they're in a sea of Win Diesels, of Ranfins, of Pack-a-Punches. And so I'll say this, Mo, if they win out their season, if they win Diesel, they get the 18 points they need for that tiebreaker against Win Diesel. They jump to the number 1 seed. I
Yeah.
think I'm all in. I'm like, I don't know how you did it, Maccabees. You won me over. You beat everybody you had to. You're in it. But
So,
I think realistically, Final Four.
so let me ask you this question then. Iggy and I, we always do the start him, sit him, bench him.
Ooh, yeah.
Right? So I'm going to get to you this way. Championship, 2nd place, 3rd place.
Okay.
Today. If Zachary Albert Skill's making his 5B prediction, championship, 2nd place, 3rd place. Actually, no, check that. 3rd place becomes one and done in the playoffs.
Ooh, okay. So first place, second place, one and done in playoffs.
Yes.
First place, I think I stick it to Win Diesel. They have yet
Okay.
to give me a reason to lose faith in them. Second place, I think we actually see a repeat. Oh man, Ramfins is scaring me with that one loss, but I really think it goes back to Ramfins and Win Diesel. I'm still on that train, Mo, from early this season.
Right.
If I were to say a one and done, though,
Would you pick Maccabees, Pack a Punch, or Win Diesel? Win Diesel's that's so Pack a Punch, Maccabees. Are they one and done in the playoffs?
I think honestly, out of crazy prediction, I'm gonna go Pack a Punch one and done.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
because I think Maccabees, as we're talking about, like, yeah, they have a few more losses, or they actually don't have any losses. They have ties, but that's just it. They have ties.
Right.
And in FPF, like, we're trying not to do ties anymore. There are no ties in the playoffs. I think Pack a Punch scoring less points is going to be a problem in the playoffs.
Well, we had 2 ties for Maccabees, so.
Yeah, but converts. Can we see converts? Is there a way to check converts? Oh, I'm right here, Mo. I
Yeah,
don't even worry about
you are moving along here, Zach. You are rolling and going, my friend. That's what it is. Anyway, I think I'll say I agree with you to the extent that I think first place Win Diesel, second place Maccabees, and Pack a Punch would be the one and done if the playoffs were today. But we still have a
it.
month
Okay.
left of football, right?
Yeah, we got
So
so much time.
in that case, if you look at it from this perspective, the one team that's currently in the playoff spot that will be on the outside looking in by the time we hit playoffs mid-April is who?
I actually, man, I don't think the bottom four is actually changing, Mo.
You
If
don't
I
think
had to
so?
guess, yeah, I don't think it's changing. If you put a gun to my head and made me choose one, I would choose retired All Stars just because of their schedule and the fact that they have more games played. But
Right.
realistically, I think we've got who's in the playoffs and who's out.
Okay, so you don't think anything's going to move? We can just go to playoffs right now today.
Yeah, I mean, Vengeance is not going to get out of there with two
No,
wins.
no, they're done.
Hooligans, I mean, maybe you get a couple wins. You only got 5 games played, but I don't see that happening. Kicking assets Brewers might be a team I would give, like, oh, you pick up a win and then a lucky win here, you're out of the playoffs. But realistically, I think everybody else is stuck there, unfortunately.
So Belly Bandits, right? They lost to Maccabees. Chances of top four, is that out of reach for the Betway Bandits? A good group of guys. I like them a lot. I've score kept I think 2 of their games now. Decent on offense. Decent on offense. They give up a little too much for my liking on defense. So what about their chances for a top 4 spot though?
Yeah, like, I again, we're talking about how Maccabees is incredibly difficult to jump up a spot, and now we have like Betway Bandits, who's in what, the number 5 spot.
Yeah.
I don't think they're jumping much. I think it's a slim chance they're jumping. Maybe if the Ramfins lose out, I think they might have a tiebreaker. I don't know even how they do a tiebreaker if they haven't played each other, isn't by points or something. Uh, but the point being, like, I don't think Ramfins is losing out, and I don't think Maccabees is losing out. And if none of them are losing out, Betway Bandits, I don't think have a chance to catch up.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. I agree with you in that sense. I think Betway is probably gonna be 5 or lower. I think the top 4 may be a little bit out of their pay scale of where they want to
Yeah,
be
a
in the
little.
hotel range.
I think they should
So
keep fighting. Don't give up. I mean, hey, listen, if
absolutely,
Ramfins lose and start losing, you got a chance for that 4th place, but hit for 5.
absolutely. More confidence in Green Monster or Shea Benny to go deep in the playoffs.
I like the name Shea Benny Express. Every
You know,
time I
you know where
write
that
it in
comes
the
from,
logo.
right?
I don't. Is that like a fast food place?
Yes, I believe it's still in existence on Queen Mary and DeCarry,
Oh,
next to Stone and Metro.
okay,
Yeah,
okay. Well, I
yeah,
work around there, so I should go check that out.
yeah. It's literally next door to Stone and Metro.
Okay. I mean, despite that, I'm a Incredible Hulk fan, so anytime I see a green monster, I vote for that one. So I think Green Monster is actually going to go a little bit further. I think they have a more stable QB. Shea Benny, I think, has a better defense, but I think a stable QB goes a really long way in the playoffs.
Okay, fair enough then. Coed 3. I know you cover Coed 3 and stuff. At least we tried. Are they really head and shoulders above the competition in Coed 3?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Like, look, I mean, it's not unfortunate. It's very, very fortunate. They've got the same amount of games played, or less than, most of the division, and they're
Right.
blowing teams out of the water in points. Like 218 for 6 games. Like, that's a crazy amount of points. Half and half couldn't even match that in 7 games. Despite only getting their real QB after game 2. But the point being,
Mhm.
like, 78 points allowed is everybody else is in the hundreds, mid hundreds, and you're doing half
Right.
that. You know, they went to
Right.
the finals last year under the name. I can't even remember what their name was last year, but they went to the finals and ended up having that kerfuffle with I can't even remember who it was. Like anyway, they did final stuff and then they forfeited because they had that disqualification. But like they're a finals team. They're a top team.
Chances of Flamingo sneaking into the playoffs, high or low?
Mo, that's an actually very hard question. It's a mess down there.
Well,
Um,
you think about it, they scored a lot of points, though, right? I mean, 20 plus points
yeah,
per
and
game.
I think they just beat a team. I was starting to write the article this week, and I think they just totally beat Dream Killers,
Yeah,
37-12.
yeah.
Like, where
And
did that come from?
and they scored, I think, more points than 5 teams in this division.
Yeah. So, like, I don't want to count them out. And when I look at everybody else's schedule, who's above them, it's not easy. But if they can at least beat Perfect Strangers in their last game,
Yeah.
I think they have a chance as long as they get one more win, maybe even if they stay at 2 wins. But they have to beat Perfect Strangers in their last game, and they really need to try to beat Thunder Villains or Agridu because they're not going to beat At Least We Tried.
Block Party, they're 5-3 right now. The last 2 games, guys, half and half in Bandits, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they are running out of track to maybe get to the top spot or top 2 spots here. But could they fall off, a couple of notches because of how little left they have in their schedule?
Yeah, I think that's actually a really dangerous position for them to be in. Half and half is like on a roll. They're finding their legs under them. Like I actually think half and half is going to beat them on the 26th.
Yeah.
And if they don't kind of recover and get that win against Bandit, I think going into the playoffs 5-5 is a really bad thing for Block Party.
And
Coming
given the
off
fact
of
they
a
don't play for like 2 weeks, right? So they don't play,
yeah,
and by the time we get back in 2 weeks, they might be in 7th place.
yeah, it's not a great position. You're going to make playoffs. You don't have to worry about that. But I would worry about your momentum and how your team is kind of gelling going into the postseason.
And not only that, though, you might lose you're in play for maybe. Sorry, you're in the top 4 spot, which would give you a bye, and
Oh,
you might lose the bye because of the.
I thought it was only top two. It's top four.
Is it top 4? Is it not?
It is top four. I literally just checked. It is top
Look at
four.
that. Look at that,
Yeah,
man.
you
See,
can lose out on a bye week, which I mean might be in their best interest if they don't
right.
play for 2 weeks. But I mean,
Yeah.
still, I mean, missing around the playoffs is always great.
Last question for you, Dream Killers. They're 2-4. Look at the nice spot. Maybe a chance to get into the top 4 if things really fall the way. Are they a team to watch out for as a dark horse?
I'm gonna say yes, but my definition of dark horse is gonna be that like underrated team that's gonna upset people. Like
Right.
every now and again, I'm looking through games and I'm like, oh my gosh, Noemi Fortin is like
Yeah.
doing great. She beat who was it that threw last week? Kevin Wyeth didn't throw, he snapped, but
Right.
Tony Lala or whatever. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, like that was so awesome that they beat them. They have multiple receivers at 100 plus yards. Matthias Saint Jean has 6 sacks in 7 games. Like they've got players. I think if you underestimate them, you will lose. It is your game to lose.
Fair enough then. Zach, thanks so much for your time, my friend. What do you have lined up for us coming up in the next week or so with the FPF media world, my friend?
Oh my goodness. Well, I am trying to get these articles under my belt because I've been slacking here, Mo. But now I'm actually just realistically looking at awards and who's going to win them.
Okay. Look forward to that, man. We have a month left, right? Like we're not far away when you think about the awards and stuff. So can't wait to
3, 4
see that
games.
article coming out and hopefully the next week or so, my friend.
Yeah, man. All right. Thanks,
All right.
Mo.
My dude, take care, brother.
Enjoy.
Thank you. Zachary Albert's Gill on with us as we move along. We'll keep on plugging through here, boys. Let's bring in our next guest, the man with the Vidal Sassoon hairstyle look going on right now. Manu Alaroir will be joining us in a couple of seconds here as we get ready to talk about Div 3 with them. And I see his hair's a little bit scruffy today. It's not looking slick as it is. Manu, man, you're starting to slack over here, man. You get the nice hair look over here, and it's not Jim Clarethris level, but it's up there, my friend.
Oh, I wish I could be at his level.
GM he's got great hair. GM is fantastic with the hairstyles and profile. Manu, let's dive into it, man. Today, as we conversed, you and I, the best team in Div 3 is who?
Lightweight, for sure, for sure. I can't go other than lightweight because they're just playing so well. Even though they have that one loss on their record, um, they just been consistent. Simon Dagenet has been playing out of this world, and the team is now getting more and more used to play together. I really,
Yeah.
really like lightweight, and I definitely see them as the best team and the favorite also to win the title.
But is that a curse though to be the best team now, given that you look across the board? I mean, there's some good teams. Whether it is Backyard Bulls, who had a bad loss
Yep.
against the Gros Coq, I think 10 days ago or 7 days ago. Kiss My Laws are kind of lurking around there. Brotherhood are 5-1. ECW are 5-1. Bruins are 5-1. You look at your team, Diamond Blues, you're 4-1-1.
Yes.
Um, it's not like are they far away, or are they still within reach of the pack of teams I just listed?
They're within reach, but those teams you just listed have to play their best game against lightweight. You cannot make mistakes because Simon Dagenet doesn't make mistakes or rarely does make mistakes. So you have to play a perfect football. So I think there's a little gap, but it's not clear favorite. But they're still my favorites to win for now.
I'll say this: I think they are favorites to win, but this is Manu. FPF playoffs are is unscripted
It's
drama.
tricky.
It's literally it's tricky. It's unscripted drama. It's
Yeah.
literally twisted the tail of the plot stories that could unfold. And I mean, I'm not saying Simon Jasny will have a bad game, but if he has a bad game, hopefully it's now and not in April when the playoffs begin.
No, definitely, and but like I said earlier, I think he's really his team is really getting in the groove, especially the new players he added,
Yeah.
and the defense is also very solid. They turn over the ball a lot, which is really good and gives short field to Simon,
Right.
which he's gonna capitalize on that every time.
Okay, so since I had the question on our list here, so should we award Simon Dagenet the Quarterback of the Year award by Sunday night because he's on 40 TDs, one INT. There's no one within range of him in the quarterback category numbers right now, and if he
Man.
were look put it this way, if he were to retire today, right, to not play any more games, does he win it?
Oh, looking at this, 40 TDs and one interception only, only allowing 7 sacks, which is low. He's completing most of his passes, almost 70% of his passes. Man, that for me, that's a lock right there. QB of the year lock. And even if he wouldn't play his next 3 games, I think he would still win it just because he's been so impressive and
Yeah, I
the
think so
he's the
too.
he's the main success of this team of lightweight. Like all the players are good, but if Simon Dagenet doesn't play like he does, I don't think this team is where it's at right now.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think if he were to say, "Hey, I'm not playing the rest of the year," he's got it wrapped up, man. Just give him the award
Yeah.
now, then wait till
No,
mid-April
no.
when you got to start chasing guys. Hey, here's your award from 2 seasons ago. Like, give it to him now and let it chill out right now as we move forward. So, look, here's
He
a question
deserves
for you
it.
though. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. He's come back. He hasn't played in a couple of years, but looks like
Yeah.
he's not lost a step in his rhythm. So the chance, okay, more like it to happen for first place, right? The chance to catch up to them. Sharks or your Diamond Blues right now, can they catch up to lightweights, or in the Sharks' case, catch up to the Bruins?
Man, it's tough because I do think in Division 3 you have to win your group in order to be like in the top, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think it
Right.
goes by pure rating. And if I look at, for example, our team, uh, we have one loss to Backyard Bullies, so that could be the tough thing. But we also have one tie, which doesn't help us
Yeah.
in the long run against lightweight. So I don't
Right.
think it will be us. But it would have to come down to lightweight losing another game because Sharks have 2 losses right now, but they could very well just finish the season 8-2.
Yeah.
They have the team for that, and Corey, like we said, is getting into his groove also. But I do not think both of these teams can take first place, and I think that's okay because even if you're first, second, third, you're
Right.
still gonna have to go through all the teams. And yeah, sure, home field helps a lot, but if you want to win, you gotta have to stop him once in the game. So you start with the ball, they start with the ball at second half. You have to stop him anyways.
And like I know the Div 3 playoff format has not been revealed yet,
Yeah, not yet. Yes.
but once it is revealed, I think having a top tier seed is massive.
Yeah, it is,
It's
man.
going to be massive because you want to avoid, Manu, you know very well, your division alone can very well be the championship team from that division, whether it's you guys,
Yeah.
lightweight, backyard bullies, or whoever comes out of that division.
No, 100%. And like I'm looking at this playoff breakdown right now. We have a couple things, and it says that the group winners will be the top four seeds.
Yeah.
So and seeds 1 to 12 receive a first round bye, which is good also to get a little bit more time to just figure out, and also you can see who you're playing.
Right.
But yeah, like you said, I totally agree. The higher you finish, the better, because man, you don't want to face like a powerhouse in the first rounds or
No, you
first couple
definitely don't.
rounds.
Definitely don't. Kiss My In-Laws are in first place in the division, probably the
Yes.
weakest of the four. If we agree on that front, that division's not really that strong in terms of the quality of teams.
Nah.
But could Arush or AF1 challenge Kiss My In-Laws for first place?
I think AF1 could. The tough thing is they lost to Kiss My In-Laws,
Yeah.
and I do not think Arush, with the four losses, would it would take Iggy losing two more games, and that's not happening in my opinion. Um, so it's tough. This Group C is really struggling. When you look at the teams, that there's some 500 teams, and Air Force One, they had some the two last games were really good. Simon Blais is also finding his groove, and I got to shout him out. That's my quarterback from a long time.
Yeah.
And he's getting there. Also, he has plenty of weapons on this team. A new addition, Jonathan Bigra. I also have to mention his name. I don't think we talk about him a lot. He's I think he's the best snapper in the division. And he's finding ways to win. And I got to give credit because they're 4-3, and I did not expect that. I think I gave them like below that in my earlier predictions. So I don't think they could challenge for first place because Kiss My In-Laws is just too good and won't lose again. I don't think, but they can make some damage in playoffs for sure.
Okay, so here's the follow up to this question before we get to the next point here.
Yep.
Who if Kiss My In-Laws were to meet either Air Force One or Roosh in the playoffs, who gives them the toughest test?
Man, it's tough because I don't think both of these teams give Kiss My In-Laws a test. They are. I don't think Kiss My In-Laws is really on a different level in terms of how they play.
Yeah.
And Arush and Air Force One, yeah, they're good, but they're not on that level that Iggy and all the squad he has around him. If everyone's there for Kiss My In-Laws, we're talking about James Drysdale on the squad. We're talking about Vincent Benjamin, and plenty of weapons. Yeah, I don't think any of these teams can challenge Kiss My In-Laws.
Roosh does
Unfortunately.
play Kiss My In-Laws March 30th, so we'll have
Oh,
an
I
idea.
like that.
Yeah, we'll see.
Maybe the Arush guys will be pumped up and Iggy will have a bad game, and I will be eating my words by then.
We mentioned them briefly here. Backyard Bullies and their loss to the
Yes.
Girl Cock. How damaging is that for them to get first place in the division?
It's they lost it because like we said, I don't think lightweight is gonna lose another game.
Yeah.
So meaning they're gonna stay at one loss, and Backyard Bullies with those two losses, even if they finish out 8-2, it will still be below lightweight. So
Yeah.
that loss was huge, man. Also, they put Sean Aver at quarterback, and we talked about it last week with Iggy. Uh, Iggy asked me if it was a quarterback controversy on that team, and it very well could be because you saw our game against Vinny Golano when he played for
Right.
Backyard. He diced us up, man, and he's really good. So I think that's maybe something I would see later down the season to put Vinny at QB or
Yeah.
'cause
Yeah.
he's really good, man.
Like they're good, man. Backyard Bullies are a good football
Yep.
team. I just think that Sean had a bad game against Le Gros Coq last week. It just wasn't his. He didn't have the same panache that he did in the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season. But I agree with you. I think that first place, that second loss to Le Gros Coq will damage them in terms of them trying to get themselves a top seed essentially in their division. Before we let you go, Manu, the biggest game of the week is on Sunday.
Yeah.
The tail of the tape between Brotherhood, Easy W. Who has the edge? And does the winner become the favorite to win the title?
Oh, I love this question, Mo. I love it. It's indeed an awesome game between two powerhouse of a team. But man, I gotta give the edge to Brotherhood. I think against EZW, they're the more physical team. They have the more energy, and if they find a way to rush Jeremy White well, man, I think it's a win for them. Not saying it's going to be easy because
Mhm.
EZW can score at a clip, but Brotherhood, I really like this team. They got some energy, they got some swagger, and I think they're going to win they're going to win that game. And I'm looking at their three next games. I love it, man. EZW, Infantry, and Kiss My In-Laws. That's some tests right there to figure out where you stand in the division.
Yeah, well, that's it, right? I mean, from a macro point of perspective, yeah, that's massive because if they were to run the lot and win those next three before they play Speed Academy, which should be a win,
Yeah,
no question they could be 9-1. But those are
yeah,
three tough games. But you're right,
yeah.
we'll
That's
see a
it.
better idea. But you mentioned the pass rush, right? Like Jeremy White getting to him. If they go with Rahman Khan, no relation to Mo Khan, you know, can he get and make Jeremy feel uncomfortable in the pocket, right? And not give him the time because Jeremy White, he's unassuming. He's not the guy that's you're going to say, well, hey, he's going to be the guy to watch out for, but he's very smart as a quarterback. He knows when to bail out of the pocket to get himself maybe 3-4 yards and losing yards. So can that pass rush be smart? And the thing is, can Kwesi go to Mall if he calls the defense? Can he disguise the looks to have Jeremy second guess what he's seen out there as a quarterback?
It's gonna be a great battle between Jeremy White's offense and Kwesi's. Some fireworks on both sides for
Yeah.
sure.
Before I let you go, first one to 40 points wins this game? Yes or no?
Oh, damn. Oh, yes. Let's go with a yes.
Okay, so first one to 40 wins, and the winner of this game, are we going to pencil them in as the title contender? Because it's a big game late in the season.
Oh yeah, yeah. Are they title contenders if they win? That's a great question. I
So here, I'll
think
flip the question. I'll flip this
yeah.
question on you right now.
There you
If
go
ECW
ahead.
blows out Brotherhood on Sunday, do we have more questions about Brotherhood or ECW?
Man, I'm having question. Well, yes, I'm having question about Brotherhood because if they get blown out, like I'm like, whoa, there's a gap between. They're still not a. I cannot consider them as a top team if they get blown out.
Okay.
But if it's a tight game, I could see them. I could see either team win. So I wouldn't be too shocked if Brotherhood loses. But yeah, after that team that wins is right there with Lightweight and
Yeah.
could also finish first if Lightweight drops a game.
Okay. Look, it's going to be compelling, man, because those top
Oh
four
yeah.
spots are going to be. It's going to be a race, man, to get that top spot
Oh
in the
yeah.
division. It is going to be, and once the playoff format is revealed for Div 3, you'll see why.
Man,
How about
I
that
can't
tease right
wait.
there, huh? I just teased it for you guys, huh?
Guys, tune in for the playoff breakdown coming in the next few days.
Absolutely. Or who knows when. We'll have it up for you sooner than later. Manu, thank you so much, brother, for joining us, man, on the 3. Always a great chat with you, and I look forward to conversing with you in the coming weeks. We have one month left before
Yes.
playoffs, man. 1 month to go before playoffs.
Man, it's flying. The winter season is flying, but always happy to have a chat with you, Mo, and thank you to our producer Ali Reza also for
Who? Alex always, yeah, he's great, man. He's great. He's the
stop,
glue.
Mo.
He's the glue. He's the
He's
glue.
the glue to this show.
He is
But
the
yeah, I
glue.
appreciate you guys, and have
Always,
a great
man.
night.
Yes, sir, brother. Be good, man. Have a great week, man. We'll talk
Bye bye.
soon. Bye. There's Manuel Leroy, and we keep on going, man. We bring on the next guest, man, because we were running late because of a tech glitch we had on my end. We had that corrected. But we keep on rolling. We keep on going. And he is driving, I assume he's driving a nice automobile right now on the streets of Montreal looking for something. I don't know what he's looking for, but I assume Jeff Rosenblatt is looking to buy some supper for him and his family, or maybe going to the Dépanneur or going to the IGA. Jeff, what are you doing right now? Are you driving to buy supper, going to the corner store, going to get some gas? What's the plan here?
I'm always going to a meeting, Mo, because I'm always working. That's all you got to know.
Now, the meeting, is this you trying to recruit someone for the spring season? That's what it is. You're gonna meet them at a restaurant here at the 1 and 9, or what's going on here?
It's possible that I'm on my way to Sherbrooke, Terrebonne, or Joliet to find the new recruits for next year from other flag leagues. So never put that past me.
Jeff, you are an astute GM in this league. If you were able to build a war room, you would have every name on a magnet bar, right, on your whiteboard, and you would have kind of placed them here, here, here. Yes, we're going to locate this guy and bring him onto our team for Div 1 and Div 2.
So you have finally caught on to my tricks.
I've unlocked the Da Vinci Code at the Rosenblatt household for the war room in the basement when it comes to the FPF depth chart. All right, Jeff. They don't play until April, man, and we talked about it before, right? How the Ticklers and CFB are the favorites and the two best teams in Division 2. But thinking about it now, that game, could that have a seismic impact on the top 3 spots of Div 2 because of how it's been played out with these two teams and everyone chasing them for the top 2 spots?
So to answer your question, without a doubt, because I think, first of all, I think we have to include Mangoose right now in the conversation of the top dogs. I think those 3 teams have clearly separated themselves as the elite of Division 2. But I think that game is going to be huge because the reality is we could very easily see a Ticklers Braves finals. And so whoever wins the regular season game, you could look at it 2 ways. One, they then have the edge if they meet each other in the playoffs.
Right.
And they'll be confident going into that game. But then on the flip side, because these teams are so strong, you could argue that it's hard to beat the same team twice. So you could look at it both sides, but I think either way, it's going to be, first of all, a huge game, very entertaining game, and will certainly have an impact on the top of this division moving forward.
Yeah, because the reason I bring it up, you're right, Mangoose is definitely up there, no question about that. But, what if the Ticklers were to beat CFB? It opens it up, but then if CFB were to beat Ticklers, it might give Ambush a chance at number 3. And that's where the whole snakes and ladders begins in this top 4 race. That last game, as we both agreed, will have an impact not only between those two teams, but those above and below them trying to chase spots going towards playoffs.
Definitely agree. Obviously, Ambush is a very strong team. They have a very strong roster. But I really do feel that those 3 teams, Ticklers, Braves, and Mangoose, have separated themselves at the top. I think you could argue there's those 3 and then just a huge group of teams really in the middle that I still believe at any point could upset anyone.
Yeah.
And then maybe 1 or 2 teams that are sort of on the bottom right now that are struggling. But to your point, yes, it brings Ambush in the conversation, could bring another team in the conversation. But to me, those 3 teams have separated themselves, and it's interesting. I think the playoffs are going to be so interesting in this division,
right?
Because it's super stacked, and I think anyone could upset anyone. So it's a lot of exciting football to come.
So we have a clog of 3-win teams as we speak. Blue Ballers, 2HD, #NR, Stoics, Terror Squad, and Dirty Birds Plus. Who is the most dangerous team amongst the listed? The Ballers, 2HD, NR, Stoics, Squad, or DB Plus?
Putting aside what Adam Sinagra has done in the tackle world, which is obviously unparalleled amongst the quarterbacks that we talked about. I think the strongest quarterback of all of those teams has to be Fred Dupuis right now. I think he's rolling. I think when Fred is playing mistake-free football, he's in the conversation with the Kevin Wyeths and Joe Maes of this league as being one of the GOATs. And he always surrounds himself with a roster of very, very dangerous weapons. So to answer your question, Blue Ballers to me is the most dangerous team. And if I'm any of the top seeds, I do not want to see them in the first round of the playoffs, because that team in any night can beat anyone in the division without a doubt in my mind.
You know, the thing is, I agree with you to a point, though, but my biggest concern for Fred, you know, he's a high volume guy, right, when it comes to yards and touchdowns. But his INTs is quite rich in terms of quality of taste, because the first, I think, 4 games he threw 8, last 2 thrown 2, but he's thrown 10 for the season. And I don't know if that's going to fly in going towards playoffs when you play better defenses, you know, at some point, whether it's in round 1, 2, 3, or in the finals.
I completely agree. And if there's a knock on Fred, it will be maybe some his decision making at times and interceptions. But I just feel like, you know, guys like Frank Hogue and Mendel Joseph and just they have a very serious roster that can turn the ball over. Mendel Joseph to me has become one of the most impressive FPF players over the last few seasons, specifically defensively.
Right.
And when you have a rusher like Frank, who's going to cause a lot of stress and issues for the opposing QB, possibly forcing a few bad throws, the Blue Ballers have those guys that can pick it off. So I think they're strong on both sides of the ball. And yes, to your point, the interceptions are an issue. But if Fred, you know, cuts those down and plays at the level that he's able to, that team is very, very scary.
Losers of 4 in a row. What has gone wrong with Blessed Up?
You know, I saw that on the roster. That to me is shocking because Steve and his boys, they've been together for a long time. The chemistry is there. Obviously, it doesn't look, you know, like a typical high-powered offense. But over the years, they have continued to put up a ton of points and have gotten that stop when they've needed.
Yeah.
It seems this year the scoring isn't as much as I thought. Steve is throwing a few more picks than I'm definitely used to seeing, and the defense is, I think, allowing more points than they've typically allowed. Now, again, I think Division 2 is extremely strong. The level is very high, so it's not the most shocking thing, but I'm very surprised to see Bless Up currently where they are. I would have had them as one of the tops in the divisions as my preseason rankings.
Yeah, they've given up 30 plus points, I think, in 5 straight games. The last 2 losses have been by a score, like 6 points or less, more or less. But I'm surprised because I'm looking at their Div 1 team. It's decent, it's competitive, but you're bang on, though, Jeff. I mean, I think it's more their defense has been symptomatic of their issues that have not been smooth and serene for them this season. But do you think they can turn it around? Because they're kind of now trying to keep Killer Bees away from them for the last spot. But do you believe that they can maybe get themselves some more wins with Skills Bees coming up, which is the big one coming up at the end of March, and then Ambush to wrap up their campaign?
You know, against Skill Bees, I would still have them as the favorite, which is kind of funny because Skill Bees is actually a very, very talented team. They've had a few very unlucky situations with some of their games losing on the last play of the game. So their record to me isn't indicative of how good they are. But I would still have Bless Up as a small favorite in that game. And because we all know how talented Ambush is.
Yeah.
But I think if Bless Up wins that game against Skill Bees, I think it probably puts them in the playoffs, and I think could definitely turn around their season because again, those are high IQ, very savvy, sort of veteran, experienced flag guys, where the playoffs isn't going to make them nervous. They've been there before. They've won multiple championships. So I think they can turn their season around, but that game against Skill Bees is going to be a huge game for them. They need that W.
Right now, regardless of win-loss record, the most vulnerable Div 2 team is who?
you know, it's a tough question because, I guess one of the obvious things we could say would be Poseidon's Kiss, just because they've struggled so much unexpectedly, because it's a very strong roster. So I guess, if I'm answering the question honestly, that would have to be my answer, because I think they definitely have a few tough games coming up. They need some wins to get into the playoffs, so they're very vulnerable. But there's a group of teams that I would put in there, my team included. I would put 2.5 Dans included. I saw them play a game the other day where they really looked out of sorts.
Right.
Dirty Birds has had a few up and downs, even though they just picked up a big win. They've had some up and downs this season. Bless Up, like we talked about. So there's, I would go with Poseidon's Kiss just because they've struggled, but I think there's a lot of vulnerable teams right now that, again, considering how high the level of D2 is, they need to get their act together, or it could be, if they make the playoffs, it's going to be a quick exit for a lot of teams unless they find their rhythm.
All right, last question for you. I know you're a quarterback at heart. Joe Mario, if you look at his numbers in Div 2, he's at 74% passing completion right now. The record is Fred Vien at 72%. Does Joe Mario break the record and now have the highest passing completion number in FPF history?
The answer is yes. The answer is yes. And by the way,
4 more games left, by the way.
Yeah, the answer is yes. And take a look at his Division 1 numbers also, because they're as good. Joe has made a name for himself as, in my opinion, and this is no respect to Dan Lazara, no disrespect to Dan Lazara or Alex Nato Hughes, as the second best quarterback in FPF. Of course, the GOAT is the GOAT. I don't need to mention his name.
Mocon, yes, thank you.
Yeah. But Joma comes with all of the physical abilities and all of the intangibles.
Yeah.
The guy is tremendous in the pocket, tremendous out of the pocket, has a strong enough arm to make any throw. His decision-making and play calling is second to none. And he surrounds himself with rosters of guys that you've never even heard of that get onto the field are absolute ballers. And that's an important part of being a quarterback, is finding guys that you connect with and mesh well with. And he does that better than almost anyone. So give me a yes on him breaking the record. I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
The guy is an absolute stud. On and off the field, he's a super nice guy also. I want to mention that too. So give me a yes. I'm excited to see it. I'm rooting for the guy. I think he's a baller, and I'm happy that he's in the league and we get to compete against him.
So before I let you go, there's 2 things I'll bring up, 2 counterpoints, right? 1, you play him Monday at Hebert. And 2, I'm scorekeeping that game. So maybe I alter his stats a little bit. Just saying.
I would appreciate if you do. Yeah, I would appreciate that. If you could sort of do something to distract him during the game, that would be helpful too, because
I can do that. That's
we
no
need
problem.
to win pretty badly. So, yeah, that would be helpful because we're struggling a bit, and we need a W. So anything you can do to help an old guy out would be greatly appreciated.
We'll further discuss on the weekend about that. It is St. Patrick's Day weekend, I think, this weekend, is it not? We'll figure it out. Anyway, Jeff, drive safely, my friend. Drive safely, my friend. We'll see you May 5th in the booth for the Div 2 final. Can't wait.
It's too bad because, unfortunately, I'm going to be on the field. But I've already thought about some really good replacements for me May 5th in the booth. And as time goes on, I'm going to fill you in on who that'll be. I know you're going to miss me, but you're going to see me on the field, so it won't be that bad for you.
So when we have you on again, probably next week, most likely not, we'll do our top 5. Who's better than Jeff Rosenblatt for the booth replacement, which won't happen because we'll see you with Iggy and I in the booth on May 5th.
Oh, I was going to use Iggy as one of my replacements. So
he doesn't count. Iggy's an outlier for this whole process.
Fair enough. All
right, Jeff. Safe travels, man.
All right, man. Listen, thank you. A pleasure as always to talk FPF. You guys are doing a great job. As always, much love to everyone, and we'll see you soon.
Yes, sir, man. We'll see you Monday for the big one against CFB. Can't wait.
Yeah, man. See you there.
Take care, brother. Have a good
All
week.
right, guys. Ciao. Bye.
Jeff Rosenblatt on with us. We keep on going, my friend, as we get things going here with FPF. And we'll move on to Div 6 to talk some Div 6 with Iggy Magnets as well. And I've seen Iggy, I feel like it's been years since I've seen Iggy because we didn't do a show together last week. I was out of town for 4 days in St. Foy, Quebec. I'm fasting. Well, not fasting now. I haven't really done anything yet to break my fast. But we're going here. Iggy, you look the same since I last saw you. Welcome back.
Well, we haven't actually seen each other in person in a month. Because I don't do the Bear shifts anymore.
No.
If I do shifts, I do Loyola Saturdays. I don't see you. I pick up a few Wednesday shifts to Laval. I don't see you. I actually haven't seen you in literally a month.
It's true. It's a fair point. I see everyone else but you more often. I'll see Jimmy G tomorrow night. That's fantastic.
Oh, boy.
Highlight right there.
Well,
But we didn't talk about what we were supposed to talk about today. I lost track. I got busy with work and stuff. But we'll talk about that tomorrow. Whenever we have a free time, we'll go for that discussion. Because people are asking me, right? People ask me about that. But anyway, let's talk Div 6. I kind of got going in Div 6 a little bit here with my question. Then things went awry with.
I saw that.
Yeah, I had one question for you, and that is it. Then the whole glitch on my phone, or sorry, my camera and stuff, and whatever else. But anyway, we've got to figure it out though. All right, let's dive into Div 6 and what we have lined up. We're at that point now, Iggs, where we're starting to, as Brent said before, we're starting to see a separation of teams of who's good and who's not, and who's kind of in the middle of the pack here. Yeah. But a team that I really liked and enjoyed watching so far. I've score kept one or two of their games. I watched them when they're next door to me when they're playing and stuff. Are Pigeons? I'm high on Pigeons. I really believe they're a good team here. But my question to you is this: at 6-1, they're tied with Meat Fillers, who they lost to way back in week 1. Would you take Pigeons now over Meat Fillers as being the better team at this point of the season?
So so you've seen them. How would you describe them? I think they're like a fast, high-paced offense that like to take deep shots, and they have like a brotherly connection between quarterback and receiver. Well, can you
Right.
give me a bit more than that? That's like all.
Yeah, I liken them to 44 minutes of hell plus 10 plays. They are a team that loves the deep ball. When it opens up for them, they'll dink and dunk here and there. It's their defense that I'm really impressed. I think their defense has some really good guys. Aquino is really good. De Pelcio is a really good player that no one talks about in this league. And then you look at their overall composition. It has a good mix of size, speed, and just guys that know how to get open in the right spots. The rapport is good, and that's why, I mean, if they were to play Meat Fillers today,
Yeah.
I think they beat them, but they beat them by like 10 plus points. That's how confident I am in Pigeons and how they've grown since week 1 to where we are now in mid-March.
Yeah, and they were a returning team from last winter, right? So that helped. It's crazy how much even just one season of experience, you come back the next year and you're like, oh yeah, these concepts don't work and these do. And I think they're one of those teams that have benefited from playing last year in Division 6. Now, I was in conversation with Manny Bezogias of Meat Fiddlers, I believe, last week.
Oh, yes, man.
And he's like, "Oh, you've mentioned this before." He's like, "I feel like my team's in the dog days of winter, where they're just like, oh, I'm not looking forward to this game where we're playing a low-seeded team. Like they're just like, we kind of just want to play in the playoffs right now, right? So they're in that mode now." He's gonna have to rally the troops to get up for these games, and I think a game they would get up for would be a matchup against Pigeons, right?
Right.
I think Pigeons would give them a run for their money, but even Manny Bezogias has come a long way at the quarterback position. He's installed the Iggy and P's offense to some degree, and he's seeing things develop. He's seeing, he's reading the plays, better as he's been, getting more reps every game.
Yeah.
His receivers aren't always on the same page, and huddles are sometimes a little slow. So even though we're like week 10, 11, the offense isn't rolling as much as you'd think. Even though they're beating teams, some teams like 30-0, 30-6, which shows like some maturity in his level. He knows the offense could be better, and even then they're winning big, right? So I it, I still think meat lovers or meat fiddlers would actually come out, I think, victorious, and I think because of the convert game. But it would be a really really fun matchup. It would be a contrasting styles, right? The pigeons loving to go deep versus meat fiddlers. He's noticing that going deep isn't necessarily the way to go because defenses are giving him easy, like they're all playing 10 yards off.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he's taking what's available to him, and it can sometimes get boring. From the offense, just he's like, guys, I gotta call all hooks. They're giving me the hooks. Like you gotta take what the defense is giving you. So it'd be a bit of contrasting styles. It would be a fascinating game for sure.
Speak easy. This is an old school team that's back. Slow start out of the gates with their season. But now they're 4-3, and with the split of divisions of playoffs, I don't know, what do we call it, 6 and 6B or what D, right?
6D. Mo, how long have you
No, no,
been
but
covering FPF?
I'm fasting, man. I'm tired, man. I traveled, man. I was in Quebec City, Saint Foy for like 4 days.
Boo.
It was long, man. It was cold
No
and windy.
crocodiles.
Yeah, it was. Anyway, the point is this, though. Speakeasy, are we looking at them as being a Div 6 playoff team or in 6D for the other part of the playoff bracket?
Well, that would depend on the on how we're splitting the division, which we don't want to reveal too much. We'll probably reveal it with like about 2 weeks left, so that no tampering occurs. But either way, whether it's 6 or 6D, they put up a great fight against Skull, right? With the
Lost by 1.
7-0 Skull, right?
Yeah,
25-24
lost by 1.
loss. Like they know their way around the game, right? They know the game. They know how to elongate a drive if needed and play out a game exactly like this one against Skull, right? Where you limit the possessions. The possessions were 7 aside, right? Where easily in Div 6 with all the punting and 4-and-outs and interceptions, teams can easily get nine possessions, right? So to balance it out, 7 possessions each, and like they're not going deep. 17 completions, 114 yards. No receiver had more than 40 yards for Speakeasy. So it's clearly with 8 receptions, 3 receptions, 2 receptions here. It's clear to me that they're just dinking and dunking their way up the field. And like I said, playing a possession game, even playing from behind. They were down 19-6 at halftime. So their defense picked it up with 2 interceptions from Vincent Richard and scoring 18 points in the second half, just coming a convert short. So that's playoff football, is your defense coming up big in the second half of games once halftime adjustments are made, and scoring obviously on every possession, or 3 or 4 possessions or 3 out of 4 in the second half. So I think whether it's 6 or 6D, Speakeasy, because of the experience, are going to be a team that can probably make it to the semifinals in either division. So they're definitely an interesting team with Felix Richard getting more and more reps at QB.
Right now, the team that frustrates me is Cavalier de Rohan. I don't know what is up with this team here. They win one, lose one. They lose ugly, they win pretty. Like, for example, I score kept their game last Wednesday. They lost to Fire and Blood by 19, but then they rip apart DG Shooters by 13. I don't know. I don't know if this team is underachieving or is what they are. They'll just break even at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, they're beating newer teams that are not great in FPF, and they're losing to teams that are better than them, like Demons and Fire and Blood. I mean, they're just, yeah, sitting at 500, like 3-4. I mean, I Oh, it looks like okay. I see. So Hugo Derasp, I believe, played the first game of the season at quarterback. I thought he looked
Yeah.
good in that. 4 TDs to 1 INT. He's had 7 games played total, and they've gone with Kevin Pedula at QB.
Yeah.
12 TDs, 7 INTs, 10 sacks, 45 completion percentage, 68 QB rating. It's not great. It's clear that for every score there's an interception, and it's not great. I tend I don't know how the team feels about that, but and I would have to see. Let me just quickly see if that was the first game, because yeah, it was. It was the first game with Hugo Derasp at QB against
Right.
Shamini Shodes, and he looked in complete control of that game. And now, look, I'm going back to January 7th. Clearly, they're not going in that direction. It's a possibility for come playoff time, if they push comes to shove and everyone's paid in full and they want to give their best shot at winning the game, it might come in the form of a quarterback switch, as crazy as that might sound.
So I mentioned Fire and Blood before. This team they have 5 wins, but again, they lost to Skull by 7 week 1. But then they get ripped apart by D Shooters by 9. But now they got the big one coming up, and I saw them play again against Cavalier Rohan last week. But they got a big one in 2 weeks against free agent squad.
Yeah.
Our boys, our homies that we know very well, guys that we know very well, PZ and Eagle and whoever else in that free agent team, Maple Leaf free agent team that they built up here. But look,
Maple Leaf.
here they are.
What are we saying? What's going on?
They're 2-1 free agent squad. They're 5-2 Fire and Blood.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean?
I don't know. You're saying Maple Leaf.
It is what it is. The team is what it is, right? The free agent squad, right? Well, like to believe that they're a bunch of like nobodies. Hey, and nice to meet you. I'm Eagle. Hey, nice to meet you. I'm PZ. Oh, cool. First time? Yeah, first time. Cool. Let's get together.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm trying to say. They know each other. They know each other. That's what it is.
Okay.
But Fire and Blood, okay, they get free agent squad in 2 weeks on March 24th. I know it's a little far off right now, but what if they were to beat them? Does that send like more question marks about free agent squad, or answers about Fire and Blood that they are a contending team for Div 6?
I think it would put some doubt into free agent squad's perfect start to the season. That was they're now sitting with 1 loss. I mean, Fire and Blood are finally in the right division. This was the team, I think, in and out in Div 4 last winter, clearly not playing in the right division, and they finally came down to the division where they were well suited, and a 5-2 record is nice, and including a 24/7 win over Cheat Squad this past week at Brossard. That's pretty impressive. Maybe not impressive is not the right word, but like it's a solid win to limit a Cheat Squad team that can put up points, is athletic, maybe not the most organized of teams, but it shows to me that Fire and Blood, that is, have picked up now how to win games, and whether it's, they've scored 46 against flag dealers, 28, 37, and have given up, 7 points to Queens, 7 points to Cheat Squad, 6 points to Cavaliers and Jurohan. So they know how to play the defensive side of the ball and offensive side of the ball.
Right.
And so if they beat free agent squad, I wouldn't be surprised. It would just give me more questions on the free agents squad side of things, because they were looking like offense was rolling. And you know what? It's good that they face some adversity, but I think it would just answer or raise a few more questions on that free agent squad side.
All right, fair enough, then, Iggy. Appreciate you jumping in here, Eggs. I didn't do a proper opening, but since I have you here, we can do the opening and the conclusion of the show. Spring season, people have been asking me. Registration will open up early April-ish.
Well, if you piece it together, the ratings, the updated ratings for winter, generally you need to play out the entire season.
That's correct.
Which would be April 13th. Now, That would be a little late into April to open registrations. So probably April 1st. We're looking at spring registrations opening around
Yes.
Around then. That would
Right,
make
and of
sense.
course we are offering 5-on-5 now
Yep.
for the spring season. 6-on-6 will still be there for those who are more the traditional FPF players. But 5-on-5, given the rise in this element of flag football with the Olympics in the horizon in 2028 in LA, we do offer that. So this, if you have questions, don't feel free to ask us, right? Because 5-on-5 is a little bit different, right? Dimensions are different, style of play is different, rules are a little bit different than what it is for our FPF world. And if you're interested in this, shoot us an email, reach out to Iggy, myself, Eagle, whoever else, Rob Campana. If you want his number, let me know. I'll give it to you right now, direct line. There's house line too if you want. But if you have questions, feel free. Don't hesitate, because I know it's sort of foreign to the concept of 6-on-6 towards 5-on-5, but people are starting to play this more and more than where it was, say, maybe 10 years ago when flag was in its early stages, embryonic stages of development to where they are now.
Yeah, I mean, just to quickly, I asked Manu about it, but I don't think I really gave my opinion there. I mean, I went, right. I went to a regional tournament last summer. It was fun, but there was only like 5 or 6 teams, and it was like me facing off against Chris Rive in the final. So it was like
How original.
Playing an FPF game, basically. And then we went to the Pro Bowl games, right? The flag tournament there, and it's another animal. And not only, obviously, are the athletes just on a different level, just absolutely insane. I was hindered by the fact that my play calling was a 6-on-6 style, that I've literally never taken a snap under center. And I'm used to, my receivers have to be 2 yards away from the snapper instead of having everyone bunched, and they were just playing man on us all the entire time because they had the athletes. But I wasn't running any 5-on-5 concepts to break or bust man, which you would normally have everyone bunched up and run, crossing routes, and I wasn't doing any of that. So and the instincts, right, of reaching the ball out. You see a few players do it in 6-on-6 because they're from tackle, and you kind of laugh and you're just like, that's not how it works. But that is how it works in 5-on-5. So everyone's instinct was to launch the ball forward for a first down or for the touchdown, and we were the only team not doing it. So it's little things like that you want to practice concepts and you want to practice instincts.
Yeah.
And that you'll be able to do now with FPF offering 5-on-5, and so if we won't get crushed when some of our Canadian Montreal teams go over to, or not as crushed as much when going over to.
But
US.
more details will be unveiled. I mean, sites and locations, as we know, standard. You have an idea, pretty much. I mean, look, we have Brossard. We'll have other fields, Laval, NDG. Who else? We got Saint Laurent, maybe.
Maybe I don't.
Whatever, it's there. Anyway, point being is that
the Sunday mornings.
yeah, that's the best shift out there, man. Contrary to Peas and Eagle. No, that's not good shift, guys. People love it, man. You're done by 11, 12, whatever it is, and you got the whole day to yourself.
Yep.
It sucks when it rains. That's the most bitter part about that.
But that's
we had one or two games, but for the majority of the spring Sunday morning shifts, it was fabulous weather.
I mean, it sucks when it rains when you're outdoors, morning or night. So it's the same thing.
Okay, perfect. What do you have lined up for Thursday's show?
MoCon, every division you didn't cover.
That is correct.
Same old.
I did co-ed 3 with Zach and 5A and B and Manu 3 and Jeff 2, so you're good. And then you did 6. So you have,
again, I'm gonna ask it every time you bring me on here. Guest of the night, excluding me. Who put out a great performance there, analyzed.
I think Zach did. I think Zach's really grown in his role. They all did, but I think Zach was fun in terms of his insights, his analysis. He's straight to the point, and I think all of them. I think all of the guests we've had this year, the contributors that have come on with us, have all been fabulous. I think they've all brought their A game in. I know it's different from the perspective of the format we were normally accustomed to, with us being in the studio and bantering about. But this kind of opens up the avenue to say to everyone, and we spoke about it, I think 2 weeks ago, one of the female players said, hey, if you want me to come on, let me know. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't have to be only guests. We can get on players too. So if you want to come on with us, whether it's with Iggy and I or whoever's doing the show or shows that week, let us know. We'll be happy to have you on and get you in there to talk about whatever division you're playing in or have a passion for.
Yeah, exactly. Like you want, that's how I literally got on, right? Like I loved FPF. I reached out to you guys. I was doing the game picks, doing MoCon's 40% prediction rate versus Peas and Eagle and all that, right? So like I just reached out and was now I'm part of the media members.
Somehow you got in there. You snuck in there. You smuggled your way through the customs border agent thing. Got yourself in. All right.
You had to go there.
Of course. From U.S. to Canada, absolutely. All right, so a reminder again, spring season registration will open up April-ish. Keep that in mind. 5-on-5 will be offered. And just for the current moment right now, please double check your roster to make sure games are updated for all of your players, and uniform violations will be always been there. But again, just keep in mind, a player has to have a proper number, no marker, no tape number, etc., and same color shirt or within the vicinity of the shirt. So if it's purple and it's like a darkish purple, that's okay. If it's blue and you have like a lightest blue, it's okay. But if you're wearing a red and they're wearing blue, that's a no-no. So keep that in mind moving forward for the rest of the season. Eggs, magic words, please.
I don't do that.
Good night, day one. One fast down, 29 and more to go, baby. Let's go.
All right, good luck, Mo.
Godspeed.
And good.
Smell like the winter last Christmas.